All right, Algebra 2, here is a video for Friday, February 4th, to help us almost finish this game plan. 5-5 to 5-8. This game plan is not going to be due on Tuesday the 8th, as I told you. And we are still going to take the quiz on Thursday the 10th of next week. We will review for the quiz on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. All right, so hopefully we're keeping up with these videos and pausing them and really look what's going on. Now, some of you have already done this. This is page 8. This is page 8. In some classes, we have done this already. So given that x is 2 is the solution to this, find the other two solutions. So if I tell you that x is equal to negative 2 goes in the cubby. That's like saying x plus 2 is a factor, or divide this by x plus 2. So we said x plus 2 equal to 0, which they've already done for us, goes in the cubby. 1x to the third, negative 2x squared, negative 5x plus 6. Do synthetic division, multiply and add, multiply and add, multiply and add. 1, negative 4, 3 is x squared minus 4x plus 3. Now, what do we do here? We set this equal to 0. If x equals negative 2, what are the other two solutions? Factor, multiplies to 3 and adds to negative 4. X minus 3, x minus 1 equals 0. Cover up method, x equals 3, x equals 1 would be our two other solutions. So we're doing synthetic division, and we're solving by factor. I'm just adding one step from the previous quiz. The other two were in, if they're not marked here as not in the video, then they were in a video, which I know we've watched. We're only going to leave like 5 or so questions for Monday, okay? Now this is page 9, and this serves as a warm-up. Again, a lot of you have done this one already. 1 multiplies to 20 and adds to negative 9. X minus 4, x minus 5, set that equal to 0. You get 4 and 5. 1 multiplies to 48 and differs by 2. We got x plus 8 times x minus 6 equals 0. So you get x equals negative 8, x equals 6. The rest of this page is in a video. This brings us to page 10. Now, this is kind of new. We need a factor by grouping. Anytime we have 4 terms equals factor by grouping. Unless I tell you what one of the factors is, then you do synthetic division. So we group those two together. What do those two terms have in common? They both have at least x to the second. So I factor it out, which means I divide. X to the third divided by x to the second is x plus. This has an x to the second. I took it away, so it's just left with a 7. Now, I always bring down the sign in the middle. So that's a plus. What do 4x and 28 have in common? Well, they're both multiples of 4. I can divide them both by 4. 4x divided by 4 is x, plus 28 divided by 4 is 7. Folks, I have the same x plus 7 in both those parentheses, so they go together in one. And then these outsiders, x squared plus 4, they go together in the other parenthesis. Okay, notice how x squared would be multiplied by x plus 7. And then 4 would be multiplied by x plus 7. We're just bringing it backwards here. Okay, now this is set equal to 0. So x squared plus 4 equals 0. X plus 7 equals 0. That gives me an easy answer. Got to move the 4 over. X squared equals a negative 4. Take the square root. Plus or minus the square root of negative 4 is plus or minus I root 4, which is plus or minus 2I. Kind of a potpourri here of solving equations. Okay, anytime you have 3 terms, you want to think about easy factoring. But one of them's got to be a constant. And none of these are constants. So I take away the x that they all have in common. X to the 5th divided by x is x to the 4th, plus x to the 3rd divided by x is now x squared, plus x divided by x is 1. Now I can ask myself, what multiplies to 1 and adds to 2? 1 and 1 twice, and instead of it being x times x, it's going to be x squared times x squared. That's how I get x to the 4th. I set x equal to 0, and that's what I get, x is 0. And, you know, I set x squared plus 1 equal to 0. I can do it twice, but I just need to do it once. Move that over. X squared is equal to negative 1. X is plus or minus the square root of negative 1. The square root of negative 1 is literally the definition of I. Okay? Now 4 matches 5, which you watched in the video. 6 is just like number 1. We need to change this to a minus 7x, or else you have to use the quadratic formula. All 3 terms have an x. Factor out the x they have in common, leaving me with x squared minus 6x minus 7. Well, it multiplies to 7 and differs by 6. 7 and 1, and the 7 is negative. X equals 0. X minus 7 is 0. X plus 1 is 0. Those are my 3 answers. Let's take a look at page 11. All right, so just like the last one we did, these all have an x that I can take out, leaving me with x squared minus 10x plus 24. Well, multiplies to 24 and adds to a negative 10, negative 6, and negative 4. And I said x equal to 0, x minus 6 equal to 0, and x minus 4 equal to 0. And I get my 3 solutions, 0, 6, and 4. Don't forget about all 3. This is a difference of 2 perfect squares with square root of 16, 4. What multiplies to 16 and differs by 0? Because there is no middle term. X squared times x squared gives me x to the 4th. I got x squared minus 4 is 0. X squared plus 4 is 0. So I've done that. I've just moved over the negative 4 and the 4. Take the square root of 4, plus or minus 2. Take the square root of negative 4, that's how I get plus or minus 2i. It's plus or minus I root 4, which is plus or minus 2i. We do 12 with you because all of the other ones were in a video. The 3 that I've shared with you many times now. Factor out an x that they all have, leaving me with x to the 4th minus 2x squared minus 35. What multiplies to 35? It differs by 2, negative 7, and positive 5. I get x is 0. X squared minus 7 is 0. X squared plus 5 is 0. And I get x is 0 right here. Get x squared is 7. I get x squared is a negative 5. Plus or minus square root of negative 5 is plus or minus I root 5. All right. Now, page 12. These 3 were in a video, but I want to explain these 3. So these are going to be saved for Monday. One of the few that we're going to save for Monday. Page 12, 13, 15, and 16. Or 17. I'm only doing the ones I'm saving. Okay, if you didn't bother to watch the videos, you'll have to watch them Monday nights. I made definitely good notes of what I'm saving, and those are the ones that we'll talk about. Okay, so this is just review, really, because find the roots of, so the solutions equal the roots, which equal the zeros, which equals the x-intercepts, and that's when y is 0. So all I got to do is say f of x, which is y, equals 0. 0 equals x squared minus 3x minus 70. Well, multiplies to 70, differs by 3. Negative 10 and 7. All right. I said 0. You might hear a little Tyler down below. 0 is equal to x squared plus 6x plus 8. Well, multiplies to 8 and adds to 6, 4, and 2. Those are my 2 solutions. The rest were in a video. Next page is page 14. Okay, we're going to factor by grouping. What do these 2 terms have in common? X squared, leaving me with 4x minus 3. I got to bring down the minus. I always bring down the sign in the middle, so I'm bringing down the minus. What do 175 have in common? Can divide them both by 25. Now I'm dividing by negative 25. Remember, these 2 parentheses have to be exactly the same. Not opposites, but exactly the same. Negative 100 divided by negative 25 is 4x. 75 divided by negative 25, so minus 3. X squared minus 25. 4x minus 3. are my factors. If x squared minus 25 is 0, that gives me x is plus or minus 5. If 4x minus 3 is equal to 0, that's how I get x is 3/4. Factoring by grouping. All right, we'll have plenty of time. We've got plenty to practice in that quiz review. We will have it down. So find all rational zero. Well, we're going to find all zeros. Okay, because rational 0, we wouldn't count like plus or minus root 5 or plus or minus I root 2. So we're going to find all zeros. Right? Because technically these have no rational zeros because these are imaginary. How does this factor multiplies 12 and adds a 7? X squared plus 4, x squared plus 3. I want to find my 0, so I set this equal to 0. X squared plus 4 is equal to 0. Move the 4 over. X squared is a negative 4. X is plus or minus I root 4. X is plus or minus 2I. X squared plus 3 is equal to 0. X squared equals a negative 3. X is equal to plus or minus the square root of negative, or I root 3. And again, I set this equal to 0. What multiplies 18 differs by 3. Negative 6, positive 3. X squared minus 6. X squared plus 3. Set it equal to 0. I get x squared is equal to 6. X squared is equal to a negative 3 when I move it over. I get x is equal to plus or minus root 6. Don't forget about plus or minus. Then I get x is equal to plus or minus square root of negative 3, which is plus or minus I root 3. All right. Now, on this page, notice I am saving these two. It means that's 5 total. All right, on page 15, I'm going to do this one with you. What multiplies to 30? Find all the zeros. Multiplies to 30 and adds to negative 11. Negative 6, negative 5. X squared minus 6 equals 0. That means x squared is 6. X is plus or minus root 6. X squared minus 5 is equal to 0. That means x squared is equal to 5. X is plus or minus root 5. All right, that is it with the regular chapter questions. Then we get into the SAT questions, which, for the sake of time, I'm going to help you with them. Some of you have done some of these. I'm just going to do them all. All right. This is no calculator section. This is not an easy one. So here's what we did. We're going to add this fraction over to the other side because they have the same denominator of ax minus 2. So what I'm doing, if I add this to that, I'm really taking negative 47 and adding it to 53. Negative 47 becomes a positive 6 over ax minus 2. Now it's equal to, this is left over, negative 8x minus 3. Then what I'm going to do is a little cross multiplying, which gives me this right here, and then I'm going to do this times this. When I FOIL negative 8x minus 3 times ax minus 2, I get this. I'm going to subtract 16x from both sides, and notice these 6's cancel. All right. Well, if this equals that, you can't solve this, but if I have an equation here, that means negative 8a must be equal to 24. Negative 8 times what gives you 24? It's negative 3. Also, negative 3a must equal 9. Negative 3 times negative 3 is equal to 9. 2 different times, a equals negative 3. Checks out. All right, here's quadratic formula, and I broke the news to you. The SAT does not give you the quadratic formula on this formula sheet. So why don't we divide everything by 3? We get x squared plus 4x equals 0. What multiplies to 2 and adds to 4? Nothing. Quadratic formula time, you can see by your answers, that's going to have to happen. You could, you could complete the square root of factor 2 if you wanted to, move the negative 2 over. But we want to do this. So x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2 times a. 16 minus 8 is 8. Negative 4 plus or minus root 8 over 2. There is no root 8. What is the square root of 8? Again, a lot of your calculators can tell you that. If your calculator can't, it's 2 root 2. All right? Break it into its prime factors. 2 breaks out of radical jail. I can divide everything by 2, so negative 2 plus or minus root 2 is my answer. Not impossible. Okay, we can have the quadratic formula down. We can memorize it. Okay, I'm pretty sure all classes have done 15. The formula literally tells you as Fahrenheit goes up by 1, Celsius goes up by 5/9. That is true, but also, here's a formula we're used to. If I multiply both sides by 9/5, and I solve this equation for Fahrenheit, add 32 to the other side, Celsius goes up by 1, Fahrenheit goes up by 9/5, and 9/5 is 1.8. 1 and 2 are correct. All right. Number 16 here is now one from R. Game plan. So I do a little distribution. Then I move this over. All of these terms have an x in common, leaving me with x to the fourth minus 5x squared plus 4. Well, multiplies to 4 and adds to a negative 5, negative 4, negative 1. So x could be equal to 0. X squared minus 4 equals 0. X squared minus 1 equals 0. And when I solve those, I get my 5 answers because this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. But notice it says x must be greater than 0. So what is one possible answer? So if x has to be greater than 0, I have two choices. Notice it says positive 1 and positive 2. So you can literally fill in 2 or 1 on. This is a free response. So you actually got to, like, you know, find where 2 is and bubble in, write 2. Okay, so that one's not possible for us. This one should be very easy. 7/9 minus 4/9 is 3/9. 1/4 is 3 over 12. 3/12 plus 5 over 12 is 8 over 12. 8 over 12 is literally 2/3. 1/3 times what gives you 2/3? X has to be 2. Sorry. And note, figure not drawn to scale. So you do not have vertical lines are congruent because these are not. This becomes a different line. Okay, so what does it tell you? Y is 75. Okay, so if Y is 75, that 75 immediately goes right there. Y being 75 does not mean Z is 75. No, vertical angles are congruent, yes, but these are not vertical angles. So the 75, 2 times 75 is 150. 180 minus what's 150? Z is 30. So if Z is 30, that goes right there. Okay. And hopefully that, sweet, did not end it. Cool. So where are we there? This is an isosceles triangle because you have the congruent tick marks. So if that angle is 30, these base angles opposite the congruent sides are equal. So these angles have to be both the same angle. You do 180 minus 30, which is 150. Divided by 2 gets 75. Both of those base angles are 75. And x is supplementary to that base angle. So x is 180 minus 75. All right, 180 minus 75. 105 degrees. From geometry, we can get that one right. A few different ways you can do 19 here. At a lunch stand, each hamburger has 50 more calories than an order of fries. So a hamburger, calorie-wise, is equal to a fry order plus 50. 2 hamburgers and 3 fries, 1,700 calories. So what are you going to do? I was wrong. You want to plug this in for, use substitution, plug that in for hamburger. So 2 times what I could write a hamburger as, plus 3 fries is 1,700. Did a little distribution. Found that fries were 320 and hamburgers 50 more than that. All right, in triangle ABC, the measure of B is 90. Now, you could do ABC or ABC like I wrote it, but B has to be in the middle, and B is 90. Now, because DEF is similar, because I went ABC, I have to do DEF. A corresponds with D. B has the same angle measure as E, and C also has the same angle measure as F. That's what it means to be similar. Your sides are proportional, but your angles have the same measure. Now, this is 16, that's 20. I did the Pythagorean theorem. This is a 3, 4, 5 triangle quadrupled. Okay, so this is going to give you 12. Now, we don't need to really have this. Each one is a third of the length of the corresponding. You can divide all those by 3, or you can just know that sine of F is equal to sine of C because all the sides are proportional. Sine is a trig ratio. So sine means opposite over hypotenuse. So sine of F is going to be equal to sine of C because they aren't the same angle. They have the same measure, that is, and their sides are proportional. So they're going to have the same ratio. So sine C is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. 12 over 20 is 3/5. All right, so that is from geometry. What is the weight in newtons of an object on Mercury with a mass of 90? So you're given W equals mg, where W is the weight in newtons, m is the mass in kilograms, and g is the acceleration due to gravity on the planet. So newtons, W is equal to 90 kilograms, and Mercury has 3.6 meters per second squared. That is very easy. 324, just multiply them together. Now, an object on Earth has a weight of 150 newtons. Again, we are using W equals mg. On which planet would the same objects have an approximate weight of 170? So if we're going to answer on which planet, we need to figure out what its acceleration due to gravity is, or g in that equation. So Earth's acceleration due to gravity is 9.8. So 150 is equal to 9.8 times n. Why don't you divide 150 by 9.8? You get 15.3. Okay. And then we do 170 is equal to 15.3 times, I guess we're looking for g. Hey, that's great. We're making a YouTube video here. Okay? And I'm not going to edit this. So can you give me a few minutes?
No, I can't.
Oh, awesome. So 100, this might be your last question, kids. 150 is equal to 15.3 g. You divide 170 by 15.3 and you get 11.1 repeating. And what's that? That is Saturn. Elsie, you are going to be now on the video. I will in a second. Can you be quiet? What are we doing? We're trying to make a math video.
Can I do it? Can I try?
Can you try?
Yeah, can I try? To me.
Put your hand in there. Awesome, you're on camera. Thank you, Elsie. Fantastic. This is gonna get way more than 40 views now.
Can I do?
Distribute here, 6x plus 12 is greater than 7x
Can
minus
I do it?
35. Do you know how to do algebra?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Can I
Move the 35 over. Move the 6 over.
Good.
Yeah, I bet you do. 47 greater than x. X is less than 47. All right, I'm pretty sure all classes have gotten most of these, so we're gonna quickly go over this. Size of a square of 3. So if that's at 2, 5, this could be at 5, 0 because you just add 3. So
Okay.
add 3 there. That's the only one that works. Yeah, can you mark that? Thank you, Elsie. Just all the premium video you get from math videos. What's y in terms of x? 4 squared plus x squared is equal to y squared. Take the square root of both sides. 16 plus x squared. Hey, do you know the word patience? Exactly. All right, I know all the other classes have gone over variations of this. We'll continue. We will finish this if we need to, but I don't think we do. I know many of you watched the video. I think we are in good shape. We might have to talk about like 36. But we're going to finish this on Monday. This is due on Tuesday. We're going to look at your quiz review on Monday, but you might want to start on that now. All right, the quiz is definitely going to be next Thursday, a week from this filming. And thank you, Elsie. This is Yak Math Videos signing out.